I do today is exactly where I'm at. I believe in you and me. Some days that's enough. I can say I finally see that I know that God is love. I will try every single tear. I don't believe she has a fear. I see the sun, I see the sun, I see the sun in her eyes. I see the sun, I see the sun, I see the sun in her eyes. I know that I can say I see the sun, I see the sun, I see the sun in her eyes.
Strangely alright. I see the sun, the local here in Seattle. And I am talking to upcoming cartoonist Brandon Pierce from InvaderPet.com. So if you guys want to support local artists, upcoming new ones, there you have Brandon Pierce, InvaderPet.com. Now, Brandon, even though we're talking about on the line, off on the behind the scenes, now I'm going to ask this a question again. Do you listen to any kind of music, soft music, while you're drawing your music, or no?
I don't normally listen to music while I'm drawing, although I probably should. Because I've heard that a lot of other people do that. They listen to music while they're listening to projects. Not necessarily the same kind of music that I would listen to, but most music that I listen to, like I'll listen to the classic rock or 70s, 80s, maybe early 90s, a little bit like that. I've been to, let's see, trying trying to think here. I've been to a few concerts over the years. I went to see Petula Clark with my dad in, I think, 2004, 2005. I know it coincided with their 75th anniversary, if I remember right. I went to see Pat Benatar. Again, my dad and I went to go see that at Emerald Queen Casino. In fact, the funny thing about that is that my dad and I were talking about once about how we hadn't really been to a concert in a long time, and the part of the reason for that is there really weren't any music groups or artists that either of us were really interested in even going to go see. And the day after that, Emerald Queen Casino announced that Pat Benatar was going to be performing there this was like back in 2014, I think. So I was able to get tickets for that, and a friend of mine who actually is the voice of Kaylee Cat, she was able to come along too and see that. And I also went to see Weird Al Yankovic when he was performing at the Pantages Theater, which is pretty cool.
Cool, right on.
Oh, and I went to see Anna Nalick. You and I both went to see Anna Nalick in Seattle a few years ago.
Yes, we did.
And
she's pretty amazing. And I got to meet a new artist too, Dan Golden. He was actually there too. He actually opened up for her. That was pretty cool.
And there is one group that I remember seeing a concert for. They performed at the Tacoma Dome. I think the group was called Click 5. I think that was their name. They weren't around for very long. But I remember I did meet them after the show. There was a line afterwards. And I remember, I can't remember if I actually said this to the lead singer or if it was just something I was thinking, but I think I had said something about that he looked like the actor Tom Welling from Smallville, which he kind of did. If I remember right. I'm sure anybody out there could go on Wikipedia or YouTube and type in like Click 5 and they'll probably find some of their old music work or something like that. I don't know whatever happened to that group. They weren't around for very long. I vaguely remember they were an okay group.
Well, most bands don't really last very long. Sometimes they only last for maybe 6 months. The longest record band that actually lasted was probably 9 months. In the back in the days, now bands can actually last a lot longer than normal. Because when they're on the road for so long and they get into arguments and fights over something, whatever it is, they have excuses why they don't want to play anymore. And they can't battle it out. For example, who was it? Fleetwood Mac. The two lead singers, Stevie Nicks and the other chick, I can't remember her name. They cannot tour together. They had to split the tour up. So one part of it is Stevie Nicks, the other part is going to be her in the band because they can't stand each other anymore. I don't know what happened. It's not my business. It's their drama. So,
Fleetwood Mac seems to have changed different singers over the years. I don't know much about Fleetwood Mac's history, but it seems like they switched out a lot of singers throughout the years.
They had to because of Stevie Nicks and I forgot her other name, but those two don't get along very well, so they basically left the group because of whatever drama they had at the time. But speaking of music, since you mentioned that you listen to a lot of oldies ones, today in the music history, Buddy Holly and let's see who else. Buddy Holly, Big Hopper, and Richie Valens passed away in a plane crash, in 1959 on this very day.
And I'm sure some of the listeners out there are aware of this, but the song American Pie by Don McLean, I believe, is partially inspired from that incident, those three singers passing away.
Yeah, I do believe too. Valens and Richardson were actually sick with a cold and the flu when they went over. And so I think, if I remember correctly, someone else was supposed to go on that plane and did not go because his girlfriend or his wife had a bad feeling, so he didn't go. And these guys would have had to did it. So I'm not too sure who that was, but yeah, it's a big crisis, and today marks the anniversary of that plane crash today, 1959.
John Denver died in a plane crash too, if I remember right.
Yeah, I do believe so too. All right, we're gonna go back to the music. We got Lulu Scott. Brandon, you picked her out, and this is Hurricane. She's my 11-year-old, by the way. Enjoy. Let's talk the music.
Sirens